and deception at levels I've never seen before. Roger Stone is here with us. Just briefly, we may have record audience, but I'm trying to hire a bunch of new crew, launch a bunch of new talk shows. Just in the next month, you'll start seeing them be launched. We've been a few months behind, but it's happening now. David Knight starts August 20th. Roger Stone starts September 4th. So does Mike Cernovich. So does Owen Schroyer. This is all coming, and more broadcasts, more transmissions, full TV/radio productions, documentary films, all of it. We're going to have a hiatus for a few months on the Nightly News because that's live and has so much production and so many pieces that we don't have the crew for that. That'll be a hiatus for a few months. I plan in the new year to bring back the hour-long live Nightly News, but it's highly produced. It takes like 10 people to run it. So that's going to have a hiatus, but we're going to launch a bunch of new talk shows that are going to stream and dominate on the web, be syndicated to radio. We're in contact with all the affiliates. Very, very exciting things happening on that front. But we need your financial support. Yes, revenue has gone up a little bit from last year, despite the censorship, Google banning us, what happened with AdRoll, all of it. But we've clawed back the funding we needed, but we need more to be strong. The enemy attacks the fact that we're funded. They attack the fact that we sell high-quality products because they know they're good products, from water filters to non-GMO heirloom seeds to books and films and T-shirts and all sorts of great stuff to be part of the Liberty community and support this broadcast. So we have free shipping throughout the month of July. Secret 12, the great high-quality organic methylcobalamin that you take under your tongue, highest quality organic. Vegan derived. It is back in stock after being sold out for 3 months. Secret 12 is back. Brain Force Plus, 30% off the amazing nootropic, Super Male Vitality, 30% off Survival Shield X2, 30% off Gut Health Support Pack. That's the Myco ZX back in stock after 5+ months, sold out along with the Biome Defense Probiotic. 30% off. That is so key, folks. Check that out. Secret 12 back in stock, 25% off DNA Force. 20% off. That is back in stock. I want to thank you all for your support. Super Blue fluoride-free toothpaste is also back in stock with Loyal Silver and iodine. Super Blue, InfoWarsLife.com. But you want people to fight the globalist. We don't get Soros money. We don't get globalist money. We don't get big corporate sponsorship. We're sponsored by you. Not Soros, not the Russians, not the Keebler Elves, not the Easter Bunny. And we've got them coming after us on every front because we are effective. So again, whether it's a bottle of Colloidal Silver, or whether it is the Myco ZX, or whether it's DNA Force, or whether it's the X2, your purchases make it all possible. Sign up for auto ship and an additional 10% off on top of all those specials. You really can't beat that. And check out the Emirates Essentials as well. 40% off on the summer pack, the organic bug spray, and of course the amazing sunscreen that's organic as well. And it's not the nano, it is not the nano zinc, so it's not toxic. Again, InfoWarsLife.com. Now, joining us in studio is Roger Stone, sued by Obama, sued by George Soros. Even the Politico admits this group was founded by Obama to go after Trump. It's Obama. It's incredible. I've got Politico right here. We'll show that for TV viewers on screen. They've got a federal judge that's involved in this suit. They just state as fact. Even the New York Times last night said the suit has no evidence. I've never seen anything this crazy, but it's a PR stunt. It is clearly, in fact, pull up the New York Times, folks, type in Roger Stone sued. Even the New York Times, second paragraph admits there's no proof, but that it's just a fishing expedition and a total stunt. Absolutely. Scroll down right there, and it says there is no evidence in the complaint. It reads like Pulp Fiction from a 1960s comic book. This is just wild. Keep scrolling down. It says right there in the article that, again, there is no evidence, but that they want to be able to subpoena and drag people through the mud. This is simply incredible. Mr. Trump and his political advisors, including Mr. Stone, have repeatedly denied, including with Russia. And the 44-page complaint filed on Wednesday in the Federal District Court of the District of Columbia does not contain any hard evidence that his campaign did. Wow, the New York Times, broken clocks are right twice a day. It's beyond no evidence. It just says he is a Russian agent. Trump is a Russian agent. The Russians won the election. When even Forbes said yesterday, Russiagate is Hillarygate. It's all on them. And now we know McCain's been caught sending people to meet with Russia, meet with England, meet with foreign leaders, trying to find dirt. If meeting with Russians makes you colluding with Russians, then McCain and Hillary are the ones that are guilty. Roger Stone.
Well, Alex, here is breaking news. I was informed literally minutes before walking on the set that my testimony before the House Select Committee on Intelligence, which has now been scheduled for several months on July 24th, is being indefinitely postponed till sometime after the congressional recess.
Wow.
They won't even give us a post-recess day. They're saying perhaps in September, perhaps. This is, justice delayed is justice denied. All of these hapless Democrat simps on the committee had no trouble in a public session defaming me, accusing me of being a traitor to my country, accusing me of being in contact and orchestrating the WikiLeaks disclosures, a complete lie. But they will not give me my day in court. They will not give me my public opportunity. I am outraged by this decision. The excuse they give us is that they don't have all the documents necessary for the session. There are no documents to have. There is no evidence whatsoever that I had advanced knowledge of the hacking of the Democratic National Committee, if it was even hacked. They can't even prove that. The legal complaint put forward by a bunch of Democrat pig ambulance chasers who seek to do in the courts what they could not do at the ballot box is merely a pasted together compendium of unsubstantiated media claims. Stone was involved in hacking the DNC emails.
It is a fraud upon the court.
And every one of these lawyers who is involved in this is perpetrating a fraud upon the court. I have no choice but to move for dismissal. But then I will be asking for disciplinary action against every one of these lawyers. I don't care if you're a federal judge. You too must be chastised by the court. What shocks me, Alex, is that any lawyer worth his or her salt would put their name on this piece of crap. It is that poorly crafted.
It's over-the-top defamation meant to be regurgitated all around the media. And again, it's Obama that admittedly set this group up. It's Obama suing you, and now we know it's a smokescreen for them first saying you're going to have to testify in secret, but you're allowed to have a 5-minute statement that's public. And then now they're completely chickening out again because they do not want you to be able to actually stand up and be the real Roger Stone. They want to create this facsimile, this straw man, just like they say they want me to testify before Congress, the Federal Elections Commission. And they just state in that complaint that we're all Russian agents and that Drudge is. I mean, Drudge just links to news articles. These people are out of their minds.
Well, and ironically, the point of this bogus lawsuit is that WikiLeaks has somehow endangered the safety and invaded the privacy of 3 Democratic National Committee donors.
Meanwhile, they put your home address on the...
They put my home address in the caption of the lawsuit, which is unheard of in legal circles, an attempt to threaten and foment violence against my family. It is just an outrage, but they've picked a fight with the wrong guy, Alex. They want to fight? Let's fight. I will be filing a countersuit. They're suing me for $75,000. I will be suing them for $75 million. Ian Basin, this man needs to be disbarred. And when I'm finished, he will be. You want to fight? Let's fight. You lost in the ballot box. You can't defeat Donald Trump. Your lawsuit is bogus. It's phony. It's a fraud. It is without merit. It's malicious. And it makes allegations that are entirely false. It's completely irresponsible.
Well, clearly, Barratree needs to be investigated because I don't know if these poor clients know what they've been signed on to. They've now been made parties to this manifest fraud. I mean, this is another sign of complete desperation. Now we know McCain was reaching out to Russians, sending out, having meetings. They've done what they claim Donnie Jr. did. I mean, this is just unraveling so fast.
Well, and it's leaving me no choice but to form a legal defense fund. Not that I need a defense, but an offensive move to file disciplinary actions with the bar associations for a half dozen lawyers in different states to file a counter lawsuit for defamation and so on. This is enormously expensive.
And I want to be clear to the audience. You want a war. You want us to take America back. You want taxes cut. You want the borders secured. You want the vets taken care of. You want radical Islamists not allowed to come into the country. You want the Second Amendment secured, the right of religion secured. And I'm not complaining and I'm not bragging. We're doing it. We are point blank, front lines, and we're winning. But we're under heavy fire. We are taking hits, but we're hitting them 10 times harder. They've just got a larger force. They've got more money. You are the resistance. Your prayers, your financial support when you buy products at InfoWarsStore.com, when you go to StoneColdTruth.com and buy his T-shirts or whatever. The point is that this is a war. They're coming after us, and we need support. So when you get that set up, Roger, I'll definitely help you out with that. Now, expanding here. What do you make, then, of them launching this suit directed by the president with the group that even Politico admits he set up? I mean, that clearly ties the president in now. And I think he is really who you need to now move against, because he doesn't have immunity when he engages in bullying and criminal activity, even if he tries to operate through these adjuncts, because he admitted at the onset he established this group to sabotage the electoral process and to block the seating of Trump and the ongoing operations of Trump.
Well, Alex, as you have pointed out many times, from the beginning of this campaign, they have often attacked us for exactly what they are doing. It's a very Alinsky-type tactic. So the Committee to Protect Democracy is, in fact, a committee to subvert democracy. They cannot accept the verdict of the people. They can't accept the fact that Donald Trump trounced Hillary Clinton in an election in which she spent $2 billion. Trump spent $275 million. They had the mainstream media rigged. They had the new media rigged, Google, Facebook, Twitter, manipulating the algorithm.
They had the Vatican, they had the EU, they had the Chicoms, they had the Saudi Arabians all against them. Hollywood, the media, we beat them. It's the whole fake campaign system. The whole fake media is scared. They're obsolete. So they've got to prove they can still destroy our movement, or they're not going to get donor money. They're not going to get corporate funding, which is happening. Ad revenues down to them. The support, the Democratic donations are at all-time lows. They're dying. They're failing, correct?
Absolutely. A high-level Democratic consultant who just happens to be a friend of mine told me two things this morning. First of all, he said, this is a pure publicity play. They want the sizzle of your name in the wake of the Netflix documentary.
To raise money.
Roger Stone, to raise money.
Yeah, they're just vampires. They can't get any blood. They're desperate. We'll be right back. All right, Roger Stone's riding shotgun with us into the next hour. Jack Posobiec, great political activist, is going to be popping in. We're going to take your phone calls at the bottom of the next hour as well. Ton of news to cover and go over. By the way, we had over 8,000 memes sent in, some of them still images, thousands of them videos. And I've got, again, limited crew. We're trying to hire more videographers, more crew to go through all this, to post it to InfoWars, to post it to Twitter and Facebook. We've got weeks of memes. Just to even be able to post the best ones to Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. But all of you that made memes are winners in the fight for liberty. In fact, you're such activists, I've got your emails. I'm going to start contacting you with, ideas and see who wants to be auxiliary reporters or who wants to be eyes and ears on the ground. But we're trying to grow our operation here to just get the base crew we need to really be able to even respond to the over-the-top success. Because I've had other contests with maybe 1,000 people enter it when you've got a month. This is like 8,000+ when I checked yesterday, and I've got Paul Watson, Michael Zimmerman, others just trying for hours to go over all these. It's incredible, absolutely incredible what our listeners have made, what you've done. Some of these memes have millions and millions of views a piece, most of them tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. So great job. This is having a huge effect. We want to commend all of you for what you've done. The one where Bugs Bunny's controlling the director at a symphony, that's one you made. The RoboCop, the stuff with the Indiana Jones. I mean, those all have millions and millions of views, and it really is amazing. And that's just some of the memes that our listeners have made. There's countless others that others have made. It shows the power of the people expressing themselves. The left wants to ban writing on the street with chalk or having free speech. We're just going to respond to their political correctness now more than ever. They wanted to shut Trump down. It didn't work. So again, we'll be announcing sometime next week, Paul will, $20,000 prize to whoever he says did the best meme. But we've got to go over all of them, and then we've got to try to get them all out to the public to deploy them. So if you made one of these memes, post it on Facebook and Twitter yourself. Please don't just email it to us because we've kind of got a log jam trying to post these to the internet. We'd rather link to you and your own YouTube, your own Facebook. Continuing here, Roger, I want to get more into what's happened to you, what happened to others, but looking at the waterfront, and Gorka talked about this on CNN from the White House, they really are collapsing. They keep trying to tell us we're collapsing. All the metrics show the opposite. Look at Megyn Kelly. We're going to premiere some of the behind-the-scenes stuff coming out in the third hour today. She was so arrogant. She is literally, this is the biggest plunge from 10 million viewers to 2 million in a month and a half. They admit that she came to InfoWars and bled out. I didn't even do a very good job. It's that she's reviled.
Well, and the bean counters at her new network have got to be upset because they're paying her mega millions. And, of course, now they can't charge top rate for the commercial slots in her show because nobody's watching. I mean, reruns of the Brady Bunch are outpacing her.
Literally.
Literally. It is an appropriate fall for someone who knifed Roger Ailes, who I think was largely responsible for the rise of her career. She knifed him when he was ill and could no longer...
First, she said he never did anything. One time he hugged her at a Christmas party a little too long.
Right, but then she got an $11 million book contract from the Murdoch brothers, and she hyped up her testimony against a real patriot, Roger Ailes. All of the claims against him are unproven. They are allegations, nothing less. This is disgraceful, in my view, that you would knife somebody who had helped your career that substantially. Shows you what kind of person she really is.
Well, it's been reported in the tabloids that she left her sister homeless and that there's all sorts of crimes have been committed and her family is just like grifters or something.
Well, and my friends at Fox, and I have many at the highest levels, tell me that she was widely reviled there for her abusive nature. She was not popular within the...
Well, unfortunately, if you come from trash, you rarely escape. And I feel sorry for what we're going to have to do to her today. It's bad. It's real bad. We'll be right back. Thank you, President Trump, for saying you'll never overthrow the West, and for defending the Second Amendment and our sovereignty, and kicking out all the lobbyists. Thank you, President Trump. CNN is fake news. The meme wars are on sometime next week. Paul Watson, I told him please be done by Wednesday, but I don't know how you go through 8,000 memes. It's just, you have a contest that's so successful, I don't want to disregard these. I don't want to not get them out to the public. Roger, coming up, you were pointing out that he's being well received all over the world, rock star reception, because people want the black sheep. They want the outsider. People are sick of red carpets. They're sick of elites. They want somebody that's got a red carpet for the people, somebody that is into the average person, not these disconnected elites. Don't they understand that?
Listening to NPR on the way here, Alex, the fact that the French president greeted the president warmly, they're upset about this. They'd have been much happier if he snubbed him. Look, the president, I think, is making a great impression around the world.
The president's winning.
It's a new day. It's a new day, and now we have a president who will not draw a line in the sand and sit back and watch our adversaries cross it and do nothing. You've got a president who will stand up for America, and the globalists hate it. The mainstream media hates it. They want an obsequious, weak American president who will bow to George Soros and globalism.
Didn't you love how they were all wearing, including Putin, G20 pins, but Trump wouldn't? He was wearing the American flag. That says, I'm not in your group. I represent America. I'm not going to be co-opted.
Look, he's an unabashed American patriot who will always put America first. He doesn't need this job.
And the media ran shots of him at the table alone, drinking water, not hobnobbing with everybody, because they hadn't agreed with what he said. So he said, fine, I'm done talking to you. There's no point. Let's not even have a press conference. Let's get out of here. I did my job. I stood up for America. They showed the First Lady of Poland walk by to shake Melania's hand. They cut it to not show her shake his hand. It's all like third grade, you're not in the cool club. I mean, even my young daughters know now when kids are mean to them or whatever, or jealous, oh, your dad's famous, that they're insecure, and my daughters laugh at them and know it's a joke, and they're young girls. Why doesn't the liberal media get, we don't want to be in their cool club, Trump doesn't either, you people are scum?
Yeah, no, it's childish. Going back to the trip to Paris, The various world leaders, the European leaders there, handled the president the worst possible way, rolling their eyes, looking at each other furtively.
That was at the first meeting a month ago. Now they've learned it doesn't work.
Well, it was the exact opposite.
Now the ass-kicking kissing has begun.
Exactly. And what they're going to find is that that won't work either if their goal is to get Donald Trump to take an action that is not in the best interests of the United States. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what they say about him. He doesn't care what they think about him. What he cares is about what's best for the United States. It's refreshing, in my opinion. Very refreshing.
You know, this is so seminal. What you said is so important. If you understand this, you understand everything. The childish, immature manipulation, the arrested development, how the corporate media and Hollywood themselves are the most childish, peacock, corrupt, entitled idiots. And everyone sees that dripping through the facade now. And so we should come back and show how she did shake his hand, how the media lied and said that she didn't. They did the same thing in Israel. They say no one wants him. He's being shunned. But now that it's so obvious that it's the opposite, they're fawning and groveling because they see real leadership. And because the shunning didn't work, now NPR, as you said, is flipping out, saying, oh, my gosh, this is horrible. He's popular. Our facade's falling. Everything's imploding. What are we going to do? Well, the answer is lie even more. That's what they've been doing, which is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, believing you're going to get a different response. Yep. The man sued by President Obama yesterday, Roger Stone, straight ahead. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, the New World Order.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
The New World Order is dead on arrival. It's private corporate world government where we're slaves and the elite are tax exempt. And they use this whole liberal culture of divide and conquer, sowing the seeds of racism, classism, sexism, claiming they're going to fix it but making it worse, bringing in uncompatible radical Islam, rolling out the red carpet to it, saying we've got to submit to it, using our openness against us, using our hospitality against us. Riding shotgun here today, ladies and gentlemen, is Jack Posobiec with the Rebel.media, citizensfortrump.com, one of the biggest obvious grassroots groups that helped get Trump elected. He'll be riding shotgun with us for the hour, as will, of course, Roger Stone, and then Bob Barr, former congressman, the guy that originally filed the articles of impeachment against William Jefferson Clinton, will be joining us to talk about the waterfront, but also more Democrats filing articles of impeachment now in the House of Representatives against President Donald John Trump. Now, there's a lot of news articles out there saying Jones used to be anti-establishment, but now he's pro-establishment. No, I'm not. If the establishment is foreign banks running our country and being tax exempt and dumbing our population down and having regulations and high taxes to make us poor, I'm against that establishment. If the establishment is free market, small government, open free society, Second Amendment, red, white, and blue, fair trade deals, yes, I am establishment Americana. You bet. I'm establishment Americana. I'm a classical constitutionalist libertarian. Left, right, these modern terms mean nothing. The left are a bunch of authoritarians. The right wing at the top are a bunch of Republican control arms that wrote Obamacare as a giant screw job. I want America back. If you want to live in Venezuela or Cuba or North Korea, if you want to live under communism, go there. There's plenty of hellholes like that. But they all keep saying, Jones is establishment now. No, we have a beachhead in Washington. Our president is under siege. We are taking back the states. We do have the trifecta, but they've got the trifecta of the corporate media, the big mega money, and the Republican establishment. The Democrats with Pelosi going, we're winners. We're going to beat George W. Bush. We're winners. That's a quote I played last hour. We'll play it again in a minute. That is illustrative of how they're just over the mountain. I mean, they're out to pasture. They're in cloud cuckoo land. The problem is little blue-eyed devil, little Mr. Psycho, heading up the House of Representatives, Paul Ryan, smart, he's establishment, and he's sabotaging Trump's tax cuts. He's sabotaging, just repeal Obamacare. Like Trump said, don't blame him for the bad Republican versions. Just you know, get in there and repeal it, because what we had before was better than this. And we have Elizabeth Warren and we have Ezekiel Emanuel admitting they want to wreck the old healthcare system that was the best in the world. So I want to go to Jack Posobiec to see what's front and center on his radar in D.C. You were just with him a few nights ago to a packed house of Patriots and some of the breaking stuff they're investigating. But you hit on something, Roger Stone, I want to get to a little bit later in the interview. The fact that the left is so childish now. And it's all like, oh, you're not cool. Oh, you're not in the cool crowd. Oh, you're not at the Hollywood red carpets. No one I know, unless they're like a 14-year-old moron, wants to be in Hollywood or red carpets. We're getting back to Americanism that the historian Alexander de Tocqueville wrote about, where in America it was all about what you built, what you did, what you stood for, not who your daddy was. And we're getting back to what made us great. And America's instincts are coming back. And you see them trying to go, oh, Trump's being sued, or Trump's a loser. Nobody wants to shake Trump's hand as they fawn in France, as they fawn in Germany, as they fawn in Poland, as they fawn in India, as they fawn in Saudi Arabia. Everybody can see the return of America, and everybody is in awe. And they went from trying to shun Trump when he was in Europe a month ago to absolutely recognizing the fact that this is leadership. And you may disagree with a few things Trump's doing, but he's real, and he's scaring the establishment. But first, you're being sued by Obama. Here's Politico. They admit right here, Obama lawyers team up to fight Trump, sue Roger Stone, The Hill, Politico. They said 6 months ago they were going to do this, February 23rd. They've done it. So it's an accurate statement to say Obama and Soros funds it, that's Associated Press, is suing you and President Trump. Even the New York Times finally got it right, though, in the article, Trump campaign is sued over leaked emails leaked to Russians, and it says, no evidence. It is literally more fiction than a Superman or Spider-Man comic.
The Times specifically says the lawsuit does not contain any hard evidence that the Trump campaign, in fact, hacked the WikiLeaks emails. Incorrect in the story is the fact that the complaint largely consists of a catalog of publicly known facts that it presents as circumstantial evidence. No, actually, it contains a number of publicly known assertions, claims. I dispute that these are facts. When the intelligence agencies say they're highly confident that the Russians sought to interfere in our election, that's an assertion, that's a claim. That's not a fact. Prove that. I challenge you to prove it. I dare you to prove it.
And the other big news, tell them what you just learned an hour ago.
Well, my testimony before the House Intelligence Committee, which was scheduled for the 24th, in which they had agreed to allow me to make a public statement, which I planned, like James Comey, to release in advance, and was willing, therefore, to testify in private, has been indefinitely postponed to, quote, sometime after the congressional research.
Why don't we hold a mock deal on the same day here where I just make public statements they've already made, and then you get to read your statement into the record and respond? I mean, because they never let you have your day in court. They just keep lying about you. They're scared. Why not have just a mock hearing?
Well, and Jack was putting together a demonstration, a rally in Washington. We're going to have to put that on hold. You know, I'm incensed about this.
I think you should still have it and demand you have your day in court.
Well, we're going to look at all of the options. Right now, of course, I'm tied up with trying to put together a countersuit against the Democrat pig ambulance chaser lawyers who have filed this totally bogus
former Obama counsel
against the president, his campaign, and myself. I hope to get that underway here in the next 48 hours. And then I'll deal with this. As I said earlier, justice delayed is justice denied.
But here's the bottom line. Our listeners are not spectators. We need you to spread the articles, spread the videos. They have bots blocking us. They admit they're trying to censor us. Google admits they have contracts out trying to block us. Facebook, Twitter. But they can't stop you, human action. They're scared of what's at InfoWars. They're scared of the guests we have on. They're scared of the articles. They're scared of the videos. This latest on Google is Bombshell. That we're going to get to that later in the hour. I want to go to Jack Posobiec. Jack, thank you so much for joining us. You've heard a lot of the points we've made. I've got a lot of questions, but what's front and center for you there in D.C.? And then I've got some questions dealing with the hysteria that they think they've got on Donnie Jr. as it comes out that McCain actually went and sent people to meet with Russians to get dirt. So by that yardstick, McCain's done far more than Donnie Jr.
Exactly. Thanks so much for having me on, Alex. Thanks so much for having me on, Roger. It was great to see you the other night where we completely barnstormed the Washington, D.C. establishment at the Republican Club. Alex, one thing that's been hot and heavy for us is that our sources on the Hill and our sources within the Trump administration, and I'm sure you're hearing the same from yours, they are under constant scrutiny. There is a witch hunt right now. They're saying who's talking to Jack Posobiec, who's talking to Alex Jones, who's talking to Roger Stone, and they are trying everything they can to do to stop the sources from getting out to us.
Now, let's be clear, that's not Trump. That's
retweeting you.
Yeah, that's not Trump. That's deep state.
Yeah, there's
Exactly.
no
The
question.
deep state is out.
Get into more of that.
Yeah, so I will schedule meetings for people. I'll say, hey, let's go to this regular spot where we usually go and sit, and it's well off the beaten trail. Back in the day, we used to say, let's go to a Washington Nationals game because nobody would ever show up at the Washington Nationals games. But they seem to be getting a little bit more popular now, so you get noticed there. But now it's gotten to the point where people are saying, no, they're giving me burner numbers, they're giving me encrypted applications, are giving me different passwords, changing their numbers on a weekly basis. That is how much trouble these people are under. That is how much scrutiny the deep state is under for trying to stop people like InfoWars.
And again, deep state is able to leak everywhere continually. They don't want the president getting any messages out to the public about what's really going on. They want to totally isolate him.
Well, and we have an ongoing problem. The government in Washington is not the Trump administration. It's still the Obama administration, with the exception of a few heads of departments. That's
right. So we're beating them politically in the public's mind, but we're not when it comes to the government because they're dug in.
And they're leaking their asses off in violation of the law. They're leaking classified information to embarrass the president, to delegitimize and destabilize him. We need to clean house. We need to move the Obama appointees out of government and replace them.
I agree. Why doesn't he launch the fireside chats?
You're exactly right. I'd love to see President Trump doing, a live stream Periscope, a live stream Facebook from the Oval Office every day. He could show us exactly what he wants to talk about. He could tell us his agenda directly. He could even take questions from live comments the same way we do right here.
Absolutely. Let me add this. I know what's going on.
That would go and cut across the entire mainstream media bias and be able to talk directly to the people.
We're going to go to break, and I want to come back and get into, from your intel in D.C., what the next attacks are going to be on the president with Jack Posobiec, but I also want to break down from my sources. It's been discussed, obviously, the president going direct to the people, not just these rallies. The problem is that they've kind of gotten him where, well, sir, it's the production and it's the crew, and they tried to make it sound so big and so fancy and so perfect. That's how they've kept him from doing it. All he needs is an HD camera streaming out at whitehouse.gov for everybody else to answer, being restreamed on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and then them handing him questions, ones they print off during the, say, 30-minute live deal, and he takes a few questions off the cuff, but they're trying to isolate him, and then he can sit there with his agenda, what he really did, and not just have little tweets, but go one further. Roger Stone is going to start hosting his own broadcast coming up in September. But we have got to teach him to get back to his seat. He is a perpetual person, not in the studio. I love his little red gang member bandana he left sitting there. In fact, Roger Stone disappeared. He spontaneously combusted, and he's not here with us now. I'm just having some fun, folks. We're not a stuffy stuffed shirt operation. We're teleprompter free. Posobiec, I want to get into the mood of Washington, what's happening there. Next segment, you're going to Europe, I know, to investigate Soros's effect, what he's doing there. We've got a Soros story that's big. We're going to break that just went on Infowars.com at the start of the next segment as well. Come on in, Roger. But it's going to be fashionably late, each segment. What is the spirit right now in D.C.? Because I see Trump delivering on everything he can without the Republican Congress. And, of course, we've got the Good Freedom Caucus trying to do the right thing, helping Trump. But we've got, as usual, the neocon rhinos. What's the state and the spirit of D.C. right now?
I can actually give you a little bit of a personal story on that. So I happened to be walking out in front of the Senate Dirksen office building yesterday when who should I happen to see as I'm walking to a meeting but Senator Ben Sasse. And I went up and introduced myself, and I said, "Hi, Senator Sass. I'm Jack Posobiec. It's great to meet you." And as soon as he saw me, now he's a never Trump Republican, probably the leading never Trump Republican senator. As soon as I said my name to him, he completely lost his mind, got triggered, started screaming, "You're a liar! You're a liar! You're ruining everything!" And he actually ran off, going to his Chris Wray deposition, sort of over at the House building.
Wow, so that shows we're getting to him.
And he's, "Oh, I know who you are. I know exactly who you are, Posobiec. You're a liar." And just ran off with the mere mention of my name. And this is a sitting U.S. Senator, Alex. And I said, "Gee, you could have just said no thanks, man." But see, this is the amount of under their skin. Now, this is when there's no cameras on. This is when the public eyes are not there. When the cameras are gone, when they're in their rooms, in their dark, smoke-filled rooms, they are scared of what Trump is pushing. They are scared.
Sure, and don't they get that if they destroy Trump, it'll only make him a martyr politically? I mean, look at how they tried to destroy me with Megyn Kelly. It destroyed her. Don't they get everyone has turned on them? Don't they get that's not hype? That's real reality. Like you go out, you try to catch fish, you catch fish. Some days you don't catch fish. They're not catching fish, we're catching fish. They are the most uncool, out of style, hated group of scum ever. America is coming out of the trance. Don't they understand that?
No, I really don't think they do, Alex, because this is the trance that they've been trying to put all of America into for so many years. You know, believe us and we'll protect your rights. Believe us and we'll protect, your First Amendment, your Second Amendment rights, your Fourth Amendment rights. But what have we seen them do is roll back all of our civil liberties. And this is regardless of what power.
And then bring in a bunch of radical Muslims and millions of illegals that have felonies, and then just sit there and demonize flyover country and say the West will fall. I mean, Hollywood is completely mentally ill. And again, people that have that much decadent power for 100 years are going to become decadent and evil. That's just what's happened. Where are we historically right now, Roger Stone? Why is the tide of crony globalism rushing out so fast?
Alex, I think it's because the American people are thoroughly disgusted. I've never seen in 10 presidential campaigns a level of disillusionment, a level of anger with the two-party duopoly, with every political institution, with the Congress, with big media. And the American people have settled on Donald Trump to change all this. They accuse us of being establishment. Trump will never be establishment. He may have gone to Wharton. He may be a billionaire. He may be president of the United States, but he thinks like an American. He thinks like an outsider. He will never be part of the two-party elitist leadership that's run the country.
Even in all the profiles they admit from the time he was 30 doing business on his own, like a partner with his dad, outperformed his older brother and the rest of it, and his dad sort of treated him as an equal, that he was always us against the system, Americana, the little guy, beating the elites.
He's a fighter, and he doesn't care if he gets invited to their cocktail parties. It's the furthest thing from his mind. If anything, he'd like more time to spend with his family. It is without any question, he is the first outsider president we've had since Ronald Reagan.
And they've gone from being arrogant now to being fundamentally scared, as Posobiec said. That's what finally makes them dangerous. I'm sad to see some of their arrogance starting to drain.
But I think their game plan is absolutely clear. Mueller stretches out his phony Russian collusion delusion as long as he can, hoping the Democrats control the House after the 2018 elections.
Stay there. We got to go to break. Hard break. Let's talk about their game plan. Then let's take phone calls, 800-259-9231. First-time callers, 800-259-9231. We're going to sabotage the globalists. We've been sabotaging America. We're going to restore the Republic. The Beastie Boys bringing us in. Sabotage. Globalism sabotages the free market because it can't compete with it. We're going to sabotage it with the truth. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. Jack Posobiec in D.C. riding shotgun with us. He's with the Rebel Media. We've got Roger Stone here working with InfoWars now. He wears many hats, obviously. He's a political consultant, other things, but he is launching in September. I guess it's the first week of September. September 4th, I think it's that Monday, syndicated radio transmission. David Knight launches his in the middle of August. So all of that is coming up. Jack Posobiec, again, is our guest. Infowars.com is the main news site. Looking at this, you guys were getting cut off by the break. You were breaking down their battle plan, Roger. what they plan to do to bring down Trump and delegitimize not just his election, but the huge landslide of 2016. Then we'll get Posobiec's take on that.
Yeah, Alex, since the entire Russian collusion delusion has produced nothing, they plan to stretch this out as long as they can. Mr. Mueller, longtime hitman for the Clintons and the Bushes, the guy who coached James Comey on his testimony only weeks ago, will drag out his investigation until there's hopefully for him and the elitists, a Democratic majority in the House. Then it doesn't matter how thin or asinine the charges he brings, they would be used as a hook for impeachment. The best way to combat this, of course, is to direct Jeff Sessions to convene a grand jury and to look into the matter of mass surveillance of American citizens as exposed by the FISA court only days before Trump became president. James Clapper, Admiral Rogers, Susan Rice, Valerie Jarrett, and yes, Obama himself should be the targets of a federal indictment over the invasion of privacy and the violation of the civil liberties.
Sure, but what about Mueller basically only hiring Democrats for his new giant witch hunt, his little mini FBI? And what about Comey? On Monday, The Hill confirmed that he did have a classified memo. He illegally didn't give it to the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch at the time, and then Sessions. I mean, these people are just lawless crooks.
Well, but the question you have to ask is, where is Jeff Sessions? Is he sleeping? What is he doing? You have egregious violations of the law by those who are smearing our president, and they pay no penalty. This morning on NPR, again, some saying that Jared Kushner should have, that Don Trump Jr. should have reported his meeting with this Russian lawyer to the FBI. No, John Podesta should have reported his meeting with the Chinese ambassador, but didn't.
That's right, Chinese ambassador about business in the emails to discuss policy in a secret meeting. We have it. They confirm the email's real. They don't debate it, but they changed the subject, just like McCain going and trying to find Russians to make up the fact that they pee-peed on the president, then candidate Trump. Again, what they say Trump did, they did.
Well, and as you know, my book, Stone's Rules, will be publishing here at Infowars.com in September. My #1 rule, you don't win on defense. The president has got the power, he's got the government, and he needs to turn the table on his critics and pursue the rampant, outrageous, illegal activities of the Obama administration and the neocon deep staters who to this day are illegally leaking against our president in an effort to delegitimize him.
That's right. Roger Stone is our guest. Jack Posobiec, you're there in D.C. You talk to all the major activists. You've got sources, obviously, in the White House. That's been proven. So does Mike Cernovich. Now they have public affairs coming out and saying, oh, no, they even know where we eat and what we're doing. It's horrible. And they got the CIA in the article saying, we've got to stop these people. They're dangerous. So now they're admitting we really have these sources. But again, our sources are just on what the president's real policies are and who the globalists are, and that this person's a Soros operative and that this person is a McCain operative. And then we have the proof. These are people inside, who are few and far between, by the way, in the swamp, telling us what the different swamp creatures are doing. They're not giving us secret, NSA data. That's the globalists that are doing all that illegal crap.
Interestingly enough, Alex, when I stepped out, I had a phone call from a source inside the House Select Committee who now sheds further light on why they have postponed my hearing. The arrangement was 2 Republican members, 2 Democratic members for a closed-door hearing, and that I would be allowed to give an opening statement. Well, evidently, nobody wants to be the 2 Democrats, that Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell and Congress, nobody wants to be that Democrat. The Republicans had designated their 2 members, Trey Gowdy and Tom Rooney. They were prepared to be there. I was prepared to be there. None of these Democrats want to face their own public words, their own record. They're yellow. They're cowards.
So the Democrats have literally choked. They get to go on the news. They get to say lies about you, never let you respond, say they're going to call you for 6 months before a hearing, say they've got the wiretap proof, then say they never wiretapped. They have just been tied up in knots, making Pinocchio look incredibly honest. It's amazing. So you just talk to your source during the breaks while you were late getting back. Relay this to people. This is news breaking from the man sued by Obama and George Soros through the new law firm group they admittedly established 6 months ago.
A source on the committee tells me the Democrats met, and it went like this. I think you should be the guy to go to the Stone hearing. No, I think you should be the one to do it. No, I'm busy that day. Maybe you should do it. These people are cowards. They're yellow bellies. They don't mind defaming you when they've got the spotlight in a public hearing, but in terms of facing you and being confronted with their own words. When Congresswoman Spire, a member of the committee, says, and I quote, Stone works for the Kremlin. No, I don't. Never have I done so. That's defamatory. Apologize or I'll see you in court. She said this not in the floor where she would have legal protection.
And they say bring all your communications with the Russians. There are none. It's like the Federal Elections Commission, the Democrats have written this letter saying they want all my documents of Russian funding. That's like saying they want all of the leprechauns that live in my basement's communications.
Yeah,
it doesn't exist. It's like give all my Martian communications to them. There are no Martian communications.
Yeah, this is a classic case of nobody wanting to live up to their responsibilities.
It's incredible. Jack Posobiec, I mean, you're in the middle of this. Where is all this going?
They're trying to do two things, Alex, and Roger, I know you've seen this before with many special prosecutors in the past. What they're going to do is eventually try to justify their own existence of their commission by catching someone speaking out of turn or getting some minor detail wrong and then running them up for perjury like they did with Scooter Libby during the Bush administration. They're going to simply go until fish until they're able to find evidence of a crime that was committed during the conduct of the investigation rather than anything that had to do with the convening of it. And while they're doing this, what they're attempting to do is to pit the members of the Trump campaign, the members of those people who are the Trump supporters, the supporters of the administration, against each other. That's why the New York Times is planting these seeds that Jared Kushner was the one who leaked the Donald Trump Jr. emails, when we're actually saying, no, Jared Kushner sent his to close the meeting to the FBI, and the FBI, we've seen James Comey going in and out of
They're the ones leaking.
Is the one leaking to the New York Times.
Yeah, the idea that Jared Kushner would leak against his own brother-in-law is an outrage. It's a falsehood. I believe Corey Lewandowski actually is one of the sources. He has known animus towards Don Jr. Don Jr. helped remove his incompetent leadership from the Trump campaign.
You know, I don't normally disagree with you, and that may be, but when you've got Comey and the deep state and Obama and all them bragging in January of this year before Trump got sworn in, that we've got all the data, we've wiretapped, we've got everything, and I mean, we know they've had this for a while, and we know Comey, who lied and said he wasn't leaking, now admits he's leaking, and who said he didn't have classified info when he did. The guy is a perjurer and a liar. We have him. He is the big, fat, stinking leader of the rat battalion. He is the lawyer that covered up for the Clintons. He is the enemy of this republic. He is the mole.
I agree with you. If I were the president right now, what I would do is direct Jeff Sessions to appoint a special counsel to specifically look at the question.
I agree. Special counsels on all these scumbags.
Absolutely. But focus on the illegal surveillance of Americans. This is a crime that makes Watergate look like
And it
nothing.
makes everybody a plaintiff and everybody has standing. That is what must be done of the Constitution. You're absolutely right. But let me then now ask this question of Jack Posobiec and you.
And by the way, I think Bob Barr would be the perfect guy for that job.
He's on next hour.
Former U.S. attorney, straight arrow. He can tell you when he comes on about Mueller pressuring him to drop the Waco question when he started asking inconvenient questions about the conflagration at the Waco compound.
This is just mind-blowing. Posobiec, you're there in D.C. What is the mindset? I mean, do they really still think they're going to win? Do they not know the public's totally turned against them?
They honestly aren't sure because, Alex, these people live inside a giant bubble. Even the people who are the representatives, they're not representing the people of their districts. They're representing tiny enclaves of liberalism and globalism from Los Angeles to New York City to Washington, D.C., and they never leave those little bubbles, only to maybe stand at one campaign rally every once in a while. They're sitting here and they're thinking that all of this stuff is going to work. And to the extent that they've been able to block the Trump agenda, I would have to say there is some truth to that. You know, we look today, where is the border wall? We look today to say, where is the state of the illegal immigration programs? And they have not yet received the funding that we were promised by Paul Ryan, by Reince Priebus. Why has that not happened when the Republicans control both houses of Congress and the White House, I ask? It's simply because of sabotage from our own party, and they're doing a very good job.
Exactly, but we've got to get the word out that it is not the Freedom Caucus or Trump doing this. It is the rhinos. So the rhinos and the Democrats, they're the enemy. We cannot give the Democrats the House or the Senate, or the impeachment is coming just as night follows day, and that's their game plan.
There's no question about it. Look, they're extremely well funded. This is why I tell all my friends to go to the InfoWars store, because we don't have billionaire corporate sponsors. We don't have unlimited money for legal fees. Do you think these lawyers on this phony lawsuit are not well compensated?
Oh, they admit Soros founded it. Obama set it up. I mean, this is Obama and Soros suing you. Let me get into this right now for folks, since you bring it up, and then we're going to calls for Jack Posobiec and Roger Stone here. Duke Leto, Evan, Bob, Jesse, Jenny, and others. Before we go any further, we sell amazing supplements, and they've had the Daily Show attack us again and go, oh, we're kooks, because we sell vitamin B12 and because we sell things like that. I mean, these are things that you die without. There's massive problems with soil being depleted, massive mineral and vitamin deficiencies. Everybody knows it. Vitamin B12 is one of the best natural forms of energy and health. Secret 12 back in stock, 25% off. It's known that because of the pesticides, most people's guts don't have good bacteria or have very low flora level. And so that's why it's good to take probiotics, where one pill, has got more good bacteria in it than, 10 different cartons of yogurt. And we've got the very best Biome Defense out there at 30% off with Myco ZX, sold out for more than 5 months. That goes after the missing area, the fungus, the candida, the mold that's in the gut that creates this slime wall that doesn't let your nutrients get through. It takes over your gut. It makes you hungry. Everybody knows about this who's got a brain. Myco ZX, available, InfoWarsLife.com, 30% off with the Biome Defense when you get it. The summer mega specials are continuing. Free shipping store-wide, additional 10% off when you sign up for AutoShip. We have back in stock the Super Blue, super high quality, fluoride-free toothpaste made by the same folks that make Tom's of Maine with the colloidal silver and iodine added. You can get it discounted with the 10-to-1 concentrate organic mouthwash, organic 10-to-1 mouthwash from Emmerich's Essentials. That's comboed, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. Please support our local affiliates as well. I want to go to phone calls now for this segment, the next, and one more. And then we've got, speaking of Bob Barr, former congressman, the establishment put all their money into another Republican to make sure he didn't get back into Congress. And people are so anti-establishment, he talked about this, they saw him as establishment because he'd been a Republican in a decade ago, even though he did the impeachment, even though he tried to stop the missiles getting transferred to North Korea and China, even though he did so much good stuff. They put in another Republican who was new. So, I mean, again, that's sad, but it shows how the people are so anti-establishment that even Republicans have got to watch it. That's why we've got to defeat Paul Ryan. We've got to get rid of him like Cantor. We've got to get rid of him. And let me ask both of you, and then we're going to skip this break so we have more time to go to calls. How do we defeat the rhinos? How do we target them? Because, Congressman Scalise, who's a patriot, he just got out of intensive care again. Thank God he's alive. I don't want anything bad to happen to Paul Ryan to turn him into a martyr. But, I mean, Paul Ryan is just a classic. Comes off like a total psychopath. I mean, he's a slick liar. He's totally full of crap. He's sabotaging this country. He's trying to keep Obamacare in place. He's trying to keep high taxes in place. I don't know what dirt they've got on him, but I am just so sick of these type of people. These blue blood country club Republicans. Posobiec, what do we do?
If Jeff Sessions isn't going to convene these special prosecutors and investigations, then, Alex, I think we're going to have to start doing it ourselves. There's a lot of public disclosure in terms of these FEC filings for campaigns. There's a lot of public disclosure in terms of when people are going to events and not going to events. And now that the Republicans have control of the Ethics Committee in the House, and I'm told actually from sources that the Ethics Committee is headed by a pro-Trump Republican, that we are going to start actually calling these people up for their own ethics violations. Obama previously had his ethics czar in there. That guy has finally resigned. We've gotten rid of him. It's time to appoint a new ethics chair for the White House, work with the Republican Ethics Committee in Congress to start going after these people for their funding, find out what it's tied to. If you want to talk about foreign collusion and foreign influence, oh, I say bring it on. Let's talk about it.
Roger?
I think Jack's absolutely right. I'm really disappointed in Jeff Sessions. I think he's a good man. He's wrong about marijuana. We've talked about that. But he is a veteran, former state attorney general. He understands the law. The violations by Obama and his inner circle of our civil liberties are more egregious than anything that happened in Watergate, and they're certainly more serious than the Russian collusion delusion that the Democrats seem to be committed to. But you do not win on defense. It is time to get on offense. It's time to start locking some of these people up. We learned months ago about Susan Rice's use of unmasked surveillance material for political purposes. This is a crime. And then Rice comes out and says, oh, she's been unfairly targeted because she's a woman and she's black. No, you've been targeted because you broke the law. You see, I know you expected Hillary to win and that all your crimes would be covered up. That didn't happen. No persons above the law. That's what they told us in the wake of Watergate. It's time for Susan Rice to do some serious time.
Absolutely said with truth. You know, I see how they lie as a religion. And then I see how the greatest value I've got is telling the truth. And Roger, you kind of buy into it. If they're going to call you a villain, you go with it and take your attack like judo and turn it into something good. But I've never seen you do a dirty trick. Your currency is being accurate with stuff you've told me. It's some of the most accurate info I've been given the last 3 years or so. I'd say 98% accurate. And so I know you kind of play along with that. But in truth, they are the villains. I mean, I know CNN gets paid by Gulf state dictatorships, put out promo pieces, and by the UN. Everybody else is reporting orgies of violence, 470-something cops injured, thousands of others injured, burning buildings. Looks like, a bombing run happened with a B-52 or something. And there's CNN, totally peaceful against Trump. It wasn't even against Trump. They are such liars, and I think they realize they're discredited, so they're just committing to just be disruptive and now troll us like we're in middle school. I mean, to understand their psychology, think Arrested Development. Do you think that's what it is? Or is there some sophisticated equation of deception I'm missing?
I think a lot of it's about money, Alex. I think there's a market decision, an economic decision that was made at CNN that they wanted to be the anti-Trump network, that they wanted to go for the small subset of liberal misfits who will go to the network that is virulently anti-Trump. You see the way...
So it's a cult, and the more radical members of the cult accelerate its radicalization.
And the real question will become, what happens in the AT&T Time Warner merger? I can't see the Trump administration approving this merger as long as Jeff Zucker is at CNN and CNN is being used as a weapon.
And by the way, they're calling that corrupt if he holds it up. They're trying to destroy him, and it's already a questionable merger. It shouldn't happen anyways.
Well, and sadly,
board members,
Jake Tapper...
are split.
Hold on. Go ahead. Jump in, Posobiec.
Oh, sorry, Zona. I was going to say on that point, my sources on the FTC looking at the merger right now are saying that it's currently a split decision. They are not sure whether or not to allow it. The interesting thing is as CNN loses more and more ratings, their Time Warner stock has actually gone down $700 million since the CNN meme wars have started the last few weeks. We've seen their doxing, their targeting of individual citizens.
Oh, yeah. This rebranding of CNN from enemies of America to trash of the earth is unreversible. Go ahead, Posobiec.
Yeah, and so a lot of people don't understand the strategic pressure that's being put on Time Warner right now to either divest CNN as a company and let them see if they can stand on their own 2 feet, which is unlikely, or to go in there, take the merger at a much lower valuation with the CNN product and completely clean house. Either way, Jeff Zucker, my indications are that he is going to go. Whether or not he gets a golden parachute, we'll see, but he will not be CEO of CNN much longer.
Yeah, the spin-off strategy, I think, is problematic. What I would not want to see is a Jeff Bezos or some other billionaire leftist elitist buy this company and infuse it with capital. I would much rather see Time Warner replace Zucker with more mainstream leadership and try to revive CNN as a legitimate news organization.
That is the only way to save it would be to revamp it and have it come back, since Fox News is killing itself. If it came back as the new libertarian channel, it would end up with 50 million viewers an hour. It'll never happen, though. They're too arrogant. Let's go to phone calls. We got Jenny, Jesse, Lido, Evan, Bob in Canada, and many, many others. Let's go to Lido in California. You're on the air. Thanks for holding.
How you doing, Alex and Roger? I just wanted to come in with some information. As I'm seeing Donald Trump Jr. in the Trump campaign being attacked for colluding or anything of this nature, the only thing I could look up, and just let me give you a little bit of backstory. I mean, I was born in Morocco, grew up in America. I'm a United States Army veteran. And while I was in the military, I was on a little detail. And I would like everybody to look up Hillary Clinton gets $12 million for hosting the Global Clinton Initiative in Marrakesh, Morocco. Okay, while being Secretary of State, her campaign gaining this resources, gaining this type of
globalism is all about selling your country out to foreign multinationals and companies and countries. Exactly. The Clintons totally sold us out to the Chinese, totally sold us out to the UN, and them to point their finger at Trump's son meeting with a Russian for dirt on her as if we're colluding with the Russians. I mean, this is absolutely insane.
So you could pull it up. Just type in Hillary Clinton Morocco in 2014 while being Secretary of State. She's invited to Morocco for a $12 million donation to the global.
No, there it is. Hillary got $12 million for the Clinton deal at a global government meeting. Exactly. She's at foreign meetings getting her private foundation paid while she's sitting in government. Totally illegal.
And even double-crossing Obama. The Obama administration, concerned about the way this would look, had a requirement that she would clear any of these foreign contributions with them. But she didn't on many occasions. Look.
Meanwhile, the Federal Election Commission says that we're not allowed to talk to people about campaigns. Talking is now money, and they regulate that. What type of delusional power grab is that?
Let's face it. Hillary Clinton will look great in an orange jumpsuit. Can't happen too soon.
That's right. Great points, Lido. Thanks for bringing that up. Jack Posobiec's our guest. Let's go to Jesse in Missouri. You're on the air, Jesse.
How you doing, Alex?
Good.
How you doing, Roger and Jack?
Good, go ahead.
What I'm failing to see is the American people stepping up. You know, we have the power. There's so many people in this country that aren't doing anything. They're not calling their representatives. They're not writing letters. They're just sitting by idly and accepting this Russian nonsense.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. We got a fraction of America standing up, and we're in a fight. We're barely winning. And if everybody listening understands, they hate you. They hate InfoWars because they hate you. They see you as the awake Americans, as the hope, as the light in the dark. And you are. You are the resistance, folks. When you support us, when you spread the word, when you pray for us, that moves mountains. And I think what Jesse's saying is we need more people to take action. Right, Jesse?
And I find that to be kind of ridiculous, you know? Like we're stupid. And, you know, we're just as smart as everybody else.
Well, that's what it is. It's not that. People think of themselves humbly, because it's good to be humble, as not being leaders, and it's kind of just living life. But extraordinary circumstances make extraordinary people. We're in extraordinary times. All of you who have been so humble have to activate. Call C-SPAN. If our listeners, tens of millions every day, all just called C-SPAN every day, we'd totally take it over. And talk radio, you name it. All of you just need to do a little bit each day. We'll smash them. Thank you, Jesse. More calls for Jack Posobiec and, of course, my guest here, Roger Stone. And then we have Bob Barr.
in defense of human liberty, Alex Jones.
I'll be looking for aid when they pull that gate.
Jack Posobiec, tell us about your trip to Europe you're planning to investigate the Soros operations.
Alex, I am off to Eastern Europe. I'm going to be leaving here just in a few days. I don't want to give out all the full details for OPSEC purposes, of course, but I will be meeting with anti-Soros activists, anti-Soros newsletters and journalists and reporters that are working over there to fight what Soros is doing. He's putting so much money into these refugee programs. He is trying to force these countries like Poland, like Romania, like Belarus to take in these migrants, forcing them in. They're standing up, they're saying, no, we want to defend our culture, we want to defend our borders, but the EU is saying we will fine you, and Soros is turning his mouthpiece propaganda media into attacking the people that are standing up for themselves the same way they stand up against Trump.
You know, Jack, I think what you're going to find, because I've just returned from an Eastern European trip, is that the United States embassies in Bucharest, in Budapest, in Ankara, are completely controlled by George Soros. George Soros financed the college educations of most of the employees of the U.S. embassy in Bucharest. These are nests of open societies, people, and you have to wonder, what is Rex Tillerson waiting for in terms of cleaning these people out? But then you see that Tillerson has hired this woman, Fiona Hill, a former staffer for Soros, who's infiltrated the Trump State Department and is arguing against aligning ourselves with the Hungarian government, for example, in their efforts to isolate and identify Soros as an enemy of democracy. It's outrageous that this can go on.
There's millions still pouring out of the State Department in terms of aid for these global warming programs, these climate programs that are going directly to the pockets of some of the most terrible dictators around the world in Africa, some of these people that are extremely anti-democracy in Eastern Europe. However, Soros has no problem with it as long as they play by his agenda.
Well, Jack, it shows the games they play. Peter Sutherland, George Soros, all of them, said we're going to get rid of the borders, we're going to cause a migrant crisis, we're going to destabilize the Middle East, where they're going to bring these people in, call them refugees, they're almost all military-age men. Then when they cause problems, we'll make Europe give up its rights to not make the Muslims mad. We're being held hostage. This is their plan, and people are revolting against it. And even Bill Gates has come out and said Europe has to stop this because he knows the sleeping giant's awake. I want to invite you to report for us. I know you report for the Rebel Media. They do a great job. But I'd love for you to pop in while you're in Eastern Europe with us, either on the live transmission or on the nightly news. Thank you, Jack Posobiec.
Thanks, Alex. See what we can do.
Roger, I want to give you some final comments. I'll get to other callers coming up as Bob Barr joins us, and then John Rappaport. I'm going to premiere the piece coming up at the bottom of the next hour with, of course, Megyn Kelly, the first installment being exposed for what she did behind the scenes. This is going to be powerful. But continuing here, the rebel.media, citizensfortrump.com, that's Jack Posobiec. What else is coming up when you're on the nightly news tonight?
Well, I've got to tell you, this attack on me and my family by these high-priced Obama leftist Soros-backed lawyers, what came out of left field. And I can't even tell you, I've got 30, 40 press calls waiting for comment. I've put together a statement, but it's very important to nail a lie immediately. They can't even prove that the DNC emails were hacked, never mind that they were hacked by Roger Stone or the Trump campaign.
And the New York Times admits no proof.
It's bogus, but it's an attempt, again, to achieve through the courts what they couldn't achieve at the ballot box. It's meant to try to remove President Trump. I guess they see that the congressional inquiry is going nowhere, and now they hope for a left-wing District of Columbia judge to allow them to violate our civil rights.
Yeah, it's total intimidation, and it's not going to work. Roger Stone, good to have you on board with the InfoWar.
Great to be here.
I tell you, we were really giving them hell thanks to listener support. We'll be back with Bob Barr. Stay with us.